All right. Well, we are going to dive right in, and I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome to the Wise Women Do podcast interview series. I'm your host, Pamela McKinney, and we are produced by Linda J. Thomas. This is a space where we speak to business minded women and the men who support them to be enlightened through adversities we all face in business, but in their journey, we reveal how they have navigated through to stay the course towards reaching their success and their goals. So today, today we welcome, today we welcome and we're honored to have Dr. Nina Mack-Cain, a seasoned professional with over 25 years of experience in information systems, holding a Doctor of Business Administration, a DBA, in Information System Management, along with an MBA and a BA in Communications. Dr. Mack-Cain has worked across multiple industries: education, insurance, finance, telecommunication, and government. So today, I'd like to welcome and give great greetings and grand rising to Dr. Nina Mack-Cain. How are you today?
All is well. Thank you so very much for having me on your podcast on this afternoon. I really appreciate this time with you that we're going to spend for these next few minutes, although it's longer than a few minutes. But so I am eager to dive in and share what I can with the audience.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. I just want to make sure that my screening is in the proper format for our viewers, and there we have it. I definitely would like to also say that as a consultant, a mentor, governance manager, technical writer, IT career coach, and just so much more. We get a chance to hear about your journey and have you to share upon your wisdom with us. So, just again, thank you for being here. And as you know, our ask to be sure that you like and do subscribe to this channel and the Wise Women Do podcast YouTube channel, which officially debuts later this month. So this is a place where we're going to be able to amplify global voices, share stories of resilience, and uncover triumphs in women making history. So this is what it's all about. And again, I'm thankful. So we're going to dive right in. Dr. Mack-Cain, technology is constantly evolving, but in the path of leadership within it, it may have not have always been as smooth as far as constantly evolving. So what would you say inspires you to pursue this career in information systems, and what is the importance in your area of expertise that most people may not really know?
Well, thank you again. Um, what really encouraged me to be a part of information systems management
Mhm.
is back in high school. The high school that I attended had the different classes in computer science and computer programming. And at one point, I wanted to be a court stenographer, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to be in the courtroom typing because I was good at typing.
Okay.
And but in my case, my math ability, my counselor noticed that I had a high aptitude for math. And so he said, "Hey, you would actually be good if you were a computer programmer." I'm like, "Yes, there's not that many females in that realm."
Yeah.
And of course, I am an older person, so that's why I'm saying computer programming. I think they still
Mhm.
have that terminology. And so I said, "Well, I'll give it a try." And again, my math scores were so high that I said, well, let me dive into it and see where it would lead me. And so I started in high school. I went to Milwaukee School of Engineering. When I graduated from high school, I decided to go into computer science. While I was there, I was the only female.
No surprise. Back then,
So,
especially.
and I
So,
was the only Black female. So
mhm.
that made things more challenging for me.
Mhm.
I ended up graduating from UW Milwaukee, however, and I changed my major from computer science in the School of Engineering to, at that time, it wasn't called information systems, but now it is. in the School of Business. And I looked at it as I wanted the business background as well as the technical background. Um, so when I dived into it and started working for an insurance company, again, I was the only female in my department.
Mhm.
Even though that was uncomfortable at first, but many of the men liked me, so that made it easier. So I did like that. Uh, so I share with them where and trust me, it was not smooth sailing.
Mhm.
I will admit that. Starting off as again as a female, black female, it what I underwent lots of challenges.
Sure.
Um, that I stayed strong. What helped me was my faith.
Mhm.
So I stayed strong through my faith. What many people don't really realize as a female working in a predominantly male area that you definitely have to uh, be aggressive
Mhm.
in a womanly way, that is,
Yes.
to show the men I can do what you're doing. So don't speak to me as though I cannot do what you're doing in the world of technology, because I
Mhm.
can. And another thing is people look at information system. Information system is not more of a buzzword like information technology.
Okay.
Technology is the actual um, devices that we use, right?
Mhm.
And so, like the computers and the networking that we actually, or the companies actually use. And the information system is we're responsible for managing those systems because we work with people. Uh, if you're a technology, you don't really have to work with people in the way that you have to come across professionally. You can just say, "Hey, I finished it. I did it. It's done." And as I was growing into the field, many of like my managers wanted me to do all the talking because I can talk to the end users with the business background and the technology background. So many people don't know that there is a slight difference between information systems and information technology, but
Mhm.
I use IT because it's a buzzword.
Yes.
So information technology meaning IT, information system meaning IS. So I use that because it's more of a buzzword than information system. So now they have that you can major in information systems or you can major in information technology. But when I started school, and during that time, there was not that you can major in information technology. So that is the difference there.
Yes, yes. And so that really just helped to kind of framework, the management side of that. And you're managing either people and you were good with the people. And I'm just recapping for my own understanding and making sure of the differences in that management, because you of course had a trajectory since they kind of put you up on the pedestal to speak to the people and relate to people, and then you're extracting the necessary um, um, functionality of the information, or are you seeing the information and categorizing it according to the people's needs? Like, is it chicken before the egg or egg before the?
It is according to the people's needs
Yeah.
because when we look at the system, the totality of it, I and I'm trying to make sure I don't get too technical because I really can't. I when I write requirements like business requirements for that system,
Hmm.
so then the average person can understand what I'm saying, and then I write the technical requirements for that system. So the technical side of the people that or the IT people who have to actually build out a particular platform can
Hmm.
understand. So I have to use both. So
Yes,
because I have two different parties, if you will,
that's right.
I have the technical folks and then I have the non-technical folks. So that's why
Yes.
I have to write requirements for the non-technical to understand, which is
Mhm,
the business requirements,
mhm.
and for the technical to understand, which is the technical requirements. And they look different too when you actually write them down. They look like code, but
Mhm.
it's in English language form. So if I said if then else, you know that from just, oh, if this happened, then this would happen, you know.
That's right.
So it's written in that type of format.
Got it. Now that helped me to clarify, what you do and really the two different end users, well, not end users, but the people side and then the language that the systems will understand what the
Yes.
people need, how to make it translate so that it comes out just as simple as pie for me as human,
Right.
but all of that, technical side had to go on the back end. So transition us to your time of leadership in your area of expertise. How did that happen?
Well, how that happened, well, one, I am a type of person that I like taking all kinds of classes, training to keep myself on top of things. So I took a lot of leadership classes as well. What helped was my major, information systems management, and I also received my master's in information systems. So what helped in that particular major, we had to take a lot of leadership classes too, because
Mhm.
the goal is one day you're going to be in as a project manager or a chief information officer. So we had to learn these different classes. So once I went through the classes, then I had to put the classes into action, right? So
Yes.
when I work with teams, thankfully, during the time when I was working in the industry, in the telecommunication industry, my manager saw something in me that, oh, she has a leadership role. Um, and so because of that, he kind of like pushed me out there to, like, okay, let's see what she can do. Let's give her people and see
Yeah.
how she managed the people. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. But it was okay because again, at the different ministry that I was a part of,
Sure.
I also had, and I don't want to say manage, but I had people to work with me. I was assigned as the media director. So I had like 23 people under me to work with me to get the work done within this particular church that I was a part of. We
Mhm.
had the media ministry, we had the it was the radio ministry. It was the CDs. I know now I'm really aging my
Dating.
CDs, dating myself. So I even took that what I learned in the church as a
Mhm.
leader manager. First my coursework, and then
Yes.
I took that to the church, and then I what I learned in the church I took it in the workplace, and so
Yes.
for me, that's how I built my leadership skills. And
Uh-huh.
I didn't just stop taking training classes. I kept going. Even right now, I,
Yes.
I just got out of one.
Because technology is ever, changing. I mean, it's constant,
Absolutely.
on constant. What was
Yes.
happening last week is going to be something else next
Yes.
week. So I
Absolutely.
completely understand that.
Yes.
Man, this is really good though. So okay, so women in STEM, let's they really do face hurdles many times
Yes.
and that go beyond the technical expertise. So what do you believe are the most critical skills for women to succeed in technology, the industry today?
I believe communications
Mhm.
is definitely people skills. I know that it's okay to have the technical skills in STEM or in technology, the T in STEM, because for me, it's the T in STEM, um, STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
Yes, ma'am.
So that people skill is important, communication,
Mhm.
along with writing because you need that technical writing for those who want to go into the technical writing aspect.
Okay.
Um, Also, what would help is the project management aspect because one you you may manage a small project, but ultimately you can manage a larger project. Um, Other skill set, time management is it's huge because without that time management, you won't get that project done in a timely manner. According to, if you're working for a company, they'll give you a time, like, we need this done in 2 months. Can you do it?
Mm-hmm.
And so you take the project and you look at it, and that time management, and you can learn time management. uh, I mean, you read about it, but then you apply it by actually doing the work to learn time management. So, of
Mm-hmm.
course, communication, time management, project management, um, those are really critical, in addition to whatever technical part you want to do. Some people
Yes.
want to be a webmaster, some people want to actually be a programmer or a developer, to develop mobile applications, and what have you, web pages, social media manage, now that we have social media out.
Mm-hmm.
So those are, uh, the social media may not be as critical, but it depends on the role a person wants to
Sure.
dive in. In particular, I've mentored a lot of young ladies in high school, and what have you, to share with them. I know I just did a career last year. I did a career day with young ladies, and then some young men was in the midst. But I was really um, focused on the young women, because many of the young women are afraid to do the technology part,
Mm-hmm.
um, because they look at it as, this is hard. And well, once you apply yourself, it's not as hard as a person may think. It's
Mm-hmm.
just that we had been conditioned to certain roles. Like
Yes.
I said, I wanted to be a course stenographer. I wanted to be an
Right.
administrative assistant. I mean,
Yes.
because I was conditioned that way,
Right.
that I couldn't go beyond that, and that because uh, they implant in us, you're not smart enough to do that particular role.
Mm-hmm.
So during my mentoring of the young women, I tell them, keep your math scores up.
Mm-hmm.
If you're struggling, get a tutor. I
Yes.
I had tutors.
Yes.
I'm not ashamed to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness and thank God for tutors. It helped me
Yes.
excel mathematically.
Mm-hmm.
Tutors helped me excel in my science field.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I didn't do the mathematics or the science, like I said, I looked at STEM, and I'm like, out of STEM, and it wasn't called STEM during that time,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
out of STEM, I said technology and engineering was
Yeah.
what I was driven,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to challenge myself. So
Yes.
I would tell any young ladies, challenge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just settle. If you having someone speaking in your ear negatively
Mm-hmm.
about what you cannot do,
Mm-hmm.
because this is a man's world, no, this is a woman's world too.
Yes, it
We,
is.
we live in, men and women live in this world. And I'm
Yes.
going to do my best not to go off in the preaching mode, because I do have my doctorate in theology as well.
We have to bring you back on that one because I think there's some deep wisdom that would be shared there. Okay.
Because I can really go there, and I'm
Oh
trying
wow.
to not.
Well, you said quite a few things. I mean, and I'm kind of going off of your share versus the script so much. So, but you said quite a few things. So first of all, that the rootness of the church and how that was, I got to get past saying so much. So I know that. For everyone that comments, she says a lot, and I know that. So I'm working on it. But you said, the rootness of the church really does teach us and it prepares us in so many areas. So I really do appreciate that mention in regards to that piece. And then the other side is, the fact of the gift that we have that can be stifled by those in our ear or saying things about what we can or cannot do. And your guidance counselor recognized that you
Yes,
had an innate ability for math, and
yes,
that was something that you were really good at. And then to nurture that skill set, you brought in the tutors who help you. So the tutors is a great thing, even for
Yeah.
people who make greatness, because it just helps to fine tune. It really kind of takes your ability and matches it to the standards, because
Yes.
that's what we got to do. You're already great. So now you just got to fine tune that to the standards, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
And I'm
really,
grateful for the tutors even when I was in college.
yes.
I did not stop at high school having tutors.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
encouraged the high school young ladies get tutors so then that way when it's time for you to go to college,
Mm-hmm.
you have a little bit of an upper hand. And I said, don't be afraid that once you get to
Yeah,
college, if you still need help,
that's right.
and it doesn't stop in the mathematics or
Mm-hmm.
in the science field, but whatever you need help in, if you a programmer or if you're doing other things, designing something, if you need help, don't be afraid. Just raise your hand.
That's right.
I need help, and
That's
then
right.
go out and search for a tutor. If you don't see one or find one within the university or within that high school, there's tutors externally.
Yes,
You
sir.
may have to pay, but
Mm-hmm. And
so I believe in tutoring.
I just appreciate that, that wisdom. So I know you have really crossed through many industries, from finance to telecommunications. How has this broad experience influenced your approach to problem solving and innovation?
Well, first, let me say this. I
Mhm.
know sometimes when people see that I have crossed over um, different sectors, and sometimes it was not by choice. Um, like when I was in the insurance industry, uh, the company closed. So it forced me to do a different industry, but I learned from that industry as far as insurance. I learned all about insurance. I mean, if somebody was to talk to me about insurance because I was a programmer and on the on the back end. So if somebody talks to me about insurance, life insurance, that is, I'm like, okay, I know about life insurance because I worked in a life insurance company for 8 years as a computer programmer.
Mhm.
Um, and then when I ended up for telecommunication, I was a system architect, so I designed systems, and I know, and I worked for, I know a lot about phone bills, billing services.
Oh, wow.
So I innovated through that as the
Yes.
company changed for the
Mm.
different technologies that's available,
Mhm.
and as they innovated, w- I had no choice but to
Yes.
innovate with them.
Very good
Otherwise,
point.
I would have actually got left behind.
Right.
And
Wow.
being an older person
Mhm.
too, um, I didn't want to get left behind.
Yeah.
Even though younger folks say, "Oh, you look young," I'm like, "Thank you."
We we know black don't crack. I'm sorry.
I'm like, I do have some youth, and I tell Linda that too. I said, "Yeah, you look young." So,
And
be,
beautiful.
because of that, I innovate um,
Yes.
with the company, just like
Yes.
where I am now in the education sector.
Mm.
Um, and I do teaching. I'm an adjunct instructor or
Yes,
adjunct
ma'am.
professor. And
Mhm.
so um, during that innovation time, whenever they move, I move.
That's right. That's
Whatever is new, I learn.
yes.
Just like I
Yes.
had to learn a new system.
Mhm.
And we have until the end of June to learn the new system at the
Mhm.
university where I teach. And so
Mhm.
I have to move when they move. I
Yeah.
can't just say, well, I don't want to learn it. Or
Mhm.
when they say you have to take these particular training,
Mhm.
I I'm not going to say to the person who signed my check, I'm not taking that training.
That's right. That's
I have
right.
to move when they move. So
Yes.
that's what helped me in the information system realm or information technology realm.
And we always have to be ever changing, because life is ever
Oh
changing.
yeah,
And so you have to stay on top of your game. And so that is just that's another great nugget for people to continue to remember. So And then earlier, I know you talked a little bit in regards to the having a deadline and time management and how you're meeting that. In my world of marketing and just meeting a timeline, we create that marketing calendar. So that would, when you talk about project management, that reminds me of that and having that in timeline that you want to meet and re-engineering the step by step on how you get there, allotting time for those things to ensure you meet that timeline, because now,
Yes.
yeah, it's definitely a step. So and earlier you also mentioned about the some of the roadblocks, meaning that it was a male dominated industry. Can you talk a little bit maybe about the significant roadblocks in your journey and how you broke the glass ceilings to achieve ultimate success?
Yeah, sure. And thank you for the question.
Yes.
Um, I also had to take into consideration being an African American female.
Hmm.
I will admit it was more of a struggle. I worked. They had higher back in when I was in the insurance company, being the only female.
Hmm.
I actually went to my manager because he was looking to hire more developers, and so I said to him, "Can you hire another female, please?" And he said, "Well, I'll see what I can do based on the resumes, right?" And so when he found someone, he did ask for my opinion about the particular person. I looked at her resume and I said, "Well, when she comes in, can I have an opportunity to meet her and what have you for the interview when she comes in for the interview?" And
Hmm.
when I met her, she was just as sweet. She was so nice, so sweet. And I was also looking for if he hired this particular female, how she would treat me since I'm African American.
Hmm.
Because during that time, I would get pushed out of a lot of meetings, and b- eh, because they looked at me as though you have nothing to offer us or say to us to help us get this project done. So we will let you know later what your role would be on this project. And you have to have, and I was younger at that time, I was in my 20s. Um, and being in your 20s, sometimes it is a little bit more challenging to speak up.
Hmm.
So I stayed in the background. I'm like, oh, okay. So I was shy when they hired the other female, and they did hire the other female. I was very
Okay.
happy. They hired the
Okay.
one that I picked. She didn't, she
Love
didn't
the
know that.
influence.
Yes, I had it. Yes. So at least my manager
Yes.
um, took what I was looking for in
Yes.
someone else. I said because she could still, she don't look at us as we're females and we cannot do the job. Look at us as we can do the job. Don't and my manager never looked at me as being an African American female. He
Mhm.
looked at me as, "Oh, you can do the job." So he hired me,
Right.
and I even though I went through 3 interviews with him, that's okay. We go through a lot of interviews, sometimes 5 these days. So, um, the challenging part came when she came and she was a part of the team. They started looking to her for answers and totally ignore me
Mm.
once again.
Okay.
And she didn't like that. She said,
Hmm.
"Wait, why are you
Oh,
ignoring her?" And
yes.
she was here longer than I,
Yeah.
and she came in as a junior programmer. I was a senior programmer.
Wow.
And so that even though I was a senior and she was a junior, they looked at her as, oh, well, she must be smarter than her because of.
Hmm.
And we both had degrees.
Hmm.
Again, I was there longer, so I was her senior,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
um, so she stood up for me, and I appreciate it. But I had to learn how to stand up for myself.
Yes, ma'am.
So don't get me wrong. During that time period, I did not stand up for myself. But as I grew in this area, I started standing up for myself to the point that, yeah, sometimes I made other people cry, females, I made them cry.
Hmm. Hmm.
I didn't mean to. It's just
Yes.
that don't belittle me. Don't take credit for what I've done, and you're
Mhm.
taking the credit and you're saying, "Oh yeah, I did this, I did that, and the other." And
Mhm.
don't do that,
Mhm.
because once you do that, yes, you'll see a different side of Nina. And I was in Dr. Mack-Cain at the time. You see another side of Nina, and what is and I always tell them what is
Yeah.
saving you is my belief in the Lord.
Mm.
So I'm a Christian. So that is what's saving you at this point in time. So yes,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
went through struggles.
Yes.
I went through the men calling me girl. That is really that
Mhm.
belittle,
Mhm.
words like that.
Yes,
Girl,
ma'am.
do this. Girl,
Mhm.
where you going? You going to the bathroom? And I'm thinking, wait, I'm an adult. I don't
Mhm.
need your permission. I'm not
Yes.
raising my hand needing your permission. They thought I was going to do something else. Oh, look, my hand actually raised. I didn't mean to do
Mhm.
that,
That's
like for real
okay.
raised. I don't even know how you lower the hand. Oh, there we
Yeah,
go.
okay.
Um, and so receiving those negative words
Mhm.
from those that I work with, in
Yeah.
particular males, and no, there was no black males there. It
Mhm.
was all white males.
Yes, sir.
And when I moved from the insurance even to the telecommunication, one of the largest telecommunication um, in the United States, even working for them, it was no black males. It
Yes,
was predominantly white males. But then eventually, females came in, more and more females were added
ma'am.
to the department that I was working in. Not black females, but more females came in. So I still had a little bit of a struggle, but not as much, because
Mhm.
at least another female, for those who were not prejudiced because of I'm darker than they are, um, we would get together and make sure that the men would hear us.
Yes.
So, and then when I had my first female manager, I was really excited. I'm like, yay, I got a female manager. And she was on my side for a lot of things. And during that time, I was on call a lot. We
Mhm.
had pagers. Yeah, I know
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
dating myself. So we had pagers, and I was on call, and she would stand behind me. And when I got paged, if I'm at church, and I would call in, but I couldn't just I wouldn't just leave church and go and do what was asked. I had 2 hours to do what I needed to do.
Okay.
So I would make sure I get coverage at the church because of my role at the church at the time. And she would back me up. She was like, "Oh, well, Nina was at church. So therefore, yeah."
I love that. I love
So
that.
as time went on, more women did come into the
Mhm.
that into the area. But at the beginning, yes. And in the middle, yes, it was challenging working with the men. But I learned to take um, the beauty of being a woman. I
Mhm.
had to use it in a way by saying, you know what,
Mhm.
in a sweet voice. I never went out with these guys. That I
Right.
didn't cross the line. So
Mhm.
never crossed the line.
Yeah.
But I would say to them, hey, let's look at things in a different way.
That's right.
So I would use the
Mhm.
guy starts saying that I had a sexy voice, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm gonna use that to my advantage then.
Mhm.
No, let's
Yes,
do
indeed.
this instead. So I started
Smart
using
woman.
right. I started
Smart
using that
woman.
to my advantage, and
Yes.
that's how I overcame a lot of the
Wow.
challenges by that time.
Right. Because
Yes,
it takes down their defenses. She's
yes,
coming very sweetly, and that's in a male's ego takes over.
yes,
Maybe it takes over the fact that I don't like you because of the color of you, simply because, it's just
right.
craziness how that is, but it is, and it's a
Yes,
reality. And you were diving into a whole new, industry from their eyes. Here you are.
yes,
I love the fact of, even though you had your challenges as you described with other women, and you had to kind of show them who you were.
yes,
At the end of the day, it seems that the women supported the women,
yes,
and that rose above everything else. And I love
yes,
that. I love that.
absolutely.
Yes. Awesome. So mentorship plays a crucial role. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, some of the things that you do, and I know it really does empower the next generation of IT professionals. So, how has mentorship shaped your own career, and why is it important for future leaders?
Well, I still mentor now. I love mentoring.
Mhm.
That is how I got into the role of I'm considered a dissertation advisor, where
Okay.
at the university that I work for. So I mentor doctoral students right
Okay.
now,
Mhm.
and um, not only do I mentor doctoral students, I do mentor, like I had said earlier, other young ladies into to share with them about the role consider um,
Yes, ma'am.
working in the role of technology,
Sure.
because and I work for Girls for Pearls for Girls here in Milwaukee,
Okay.
and I worked with young ladies at YMCA. Um, I did receive a reward working with high school students from the mayor,
Mm.
the former mayor of
Okay.
Milwaukee. So, because they had a luncheon and what have you. So, mentoring is so important. I even had a couple of mentors
Yes,
throughout
ma'am.
my career. I actually met my mentor. She lived in Atlanta, Georgia, and I actually
Yes.
flew out there so I can meet her in
Yay.
person because it was via phone. I have never seen her face.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't have virtual, at that time. So it was via phone,
Yes.
and I wanted to meet her. So I actually flew out to Atlanta, Georgia to meet my mentor.
Mhm.
And I was so happy that I did. She helped groom me as far as I mean, I had that little, like I said, because of the challenges, I had
Mhm.
a little feistiness in me at the time. And she said, bring it down a little, just
Okay.
you know, tone it down some, because you have to work with them.
Yes, tomorrow. I know what you feel today, but you gotta work tomorrow.
Right. You have to work with them. So just bring it down.
Yes.
Um, so I took what she had in place in me, my mentor had placed in me as a mentee, and I took that and I placed it in young women, even young men. This one in particular, he was undecided if he should go continue his degree in computer science, and I said yes, and here's the reason why. And and so he since then have his master in computer science, and not only that, he also got promoted twice in the area where he is. He relocated to Atlanta, Georgia as well, and so um, I believe if a person listen to their mentor, and if the mentor is given sound advice,
Mhm.
okay, that would help them grow, then they can take that and apply it so they can grow
Yes.
themselves.
Yes.
So my last mentor was probably 2 years ago, I want to say. Uh, and she helped me through not only in my professional, but she did help me through what I was going through in my personal life at that time.
Mhm.
Even though that wasn't her task, but she put on her listening ears
Yes, yes.
and she listened to what I was going through. So we may have left that professional for. She said, "Okay, we'll put the professional on the side and let's talk about you
You.
personally." So then that way I can help you again professionally because you're one person, right? So you have that personal challenges and that professional challenges. So
Mhm.
mentoring is so important, whether it's personal,
Yes, ma'am.
academically, or rather is it in your professional life. To have a mentor is so important. Whether you get that mentor through church, through an organization, through the
Mhm.
company, through school. I encourage anyone, to
Yes.
have at least one mentor, depending upon what area you need that mentoring, as opposed to coaching.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because that mentor would help you in a different way than a coach. But a
Yes.
mentor and a coach can help as well. So in my line of work as a dissertation chair, I'm a mentor and I'm a coach and I'm
Mm-hmm.
a advisor, and I want to make sure you succeed. Get that doctorate degree. Come on, let's do this.
And she cares about you
Yes,
personally, and that's the beauty of that. And
yes,
you're so right. I also mentor. I serve on board of several nonprofit organizations, and as a mentor, it's great to be able to show up. But I want to encourage people also not to be afraid to ask. You gave some locations and some places to find mentors. You got to step up and really just ask the question
yes,
of someone to mentor you. So please find a good aligned mentor for what it is you want to do. So,
absolutely.
yes, ma'am. So, where can our listeners find you on social media, or where would you like us to support you? Any upcoming projects, anything that you'd like us to stay in tune on?
Yes, my website, of course, lists all of the social media
Okay.
platforms that I'm on, which is www.infoenconnect, and that's the the pronunciation of my business is Info in Connect, and that's infoenconnect.com. And it
Okay.
actually lists the social medias. I'm on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, LinkedIn, and X. And that's
Okay.
why it's easier to mention the website. Then
Mm-hmm.
that way a person can just, go to the
Yeah.
website and then click on the different social media
Okay.
platforms. But I do want to add how I came up with the name Info in
Okay.
Connect
Yes. Yes.
Consulting. And the reason I wanted to bring it up because it's a unique name. So info stands for information because I'm in information system, information technology. Okay, so that's
Yes.
probably like given. In Connect, and the spelling is significant. It's
Mm-hmm.
lowercase e, capital N, capital C,
Okay.
ONNECT. So
Okay.
the capital N, capital C is for Nina Kane.
Yes, I get it.
And so in Connect is because I'm connecting, we would like to connect people to technology and to the system. Okay, so
Hmm.
that's where the Connect came from. Now, I didn't come up with the name by myself. I knew I wanted info and I didn't know what part. So my son, he's in that the Gen Z. No, he's not a Gen Z. He's a Gen X
Okay.
um, generation. He and his wife, and because they're all in their early 30s, and a couple of his friends, they got together and they said, "Oh, why don't she use info in Connect and capitalize the N and the C for Nina Kane?" And I'm like, wait, what? And I said, I like that.
It definitely works.
So I enlisted young people for help when it came to my name.
I love it. And I am a person that's into marketing and branding strategy, and I that works. So that
Yes, yes.
definitely it has my approval. I love it.
And
It's
so as
all in the
far
name, you
it's
know?
all in the name. As far as different projects, what we also do, we give away a laptop to one student who's finishing high school or graduate from high school,
Mhm.
going into college in the technical field. And so we're getting ready to on next week. We already purchased the laptop, and next
Okay.
week we're giving the laptop to the student that we selected.
Mhm.
Um, that's going into the STEM area. And so we believe in giving back, even though it's not looking at it as, oh, he couldn't afford it or what have you. But this is something that Info and Connect Consulting
Mhm.
likes to do in the community. We're a micro business, and so we cannot give out a lot of laptops.
Mhm.
So we're able to give out one laptop, and we try to do it once a year. So we're going to actually do that next week. Take pictures, and it'll be on our social media platform along
Okay.
with our newsletter. So if people can follow Info in Connect on any of the social medias, in particular,
Mhm.
follow Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, that would be great. Subscribe to our newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way, if you see something that is that you can resonate with as far as the technology that Info Connect can do for you as a service,
Mm-hmm.
I do invite people to give us a call. And we do um, online services as well as in on site, but on site obviously would have to be in Milwaukee.
Yes, yes, yes.
So we do that, and I just want to highlight that
Okay,
some of our services is like as IT advisors. That's what we do under IT consulting services.
okay,
We do IT advisors. We help businesses identify their information systems needs, their requirements, um, and then come up develop a solution for them. We do
mm-hmm.
data management. We look at optimizing their data processing to make sure that it is accurate and accessible to their end users or to their clients. We do training and support on new systems or even ongoing support system. We also do IT career we are also IT career advisors to help anyone that's interested in technology, but not for certain what area of technology
Mm-hmm.
um, they would like to pursue. We
Mm-hmm.
help them with their personal and professional goals. And we also do audio video advisement or as
Okay.
advisors. We go into different faith-based churches or house of worship, if you will, studios, conference centers, and set up the audio videos for small businesses and faith-based community.
That's
So
wonderful.
that
That
is
is
what
wonderful.
it's a lot, but that's what we do.
But, I love how with all of your expertise, you've brought it into your consultancy. And, for my business, I work with startups, I work with founders who are, launching these incredible unicorn, ventures to market. And I would love to add you as a, place
Yes,
on my website where people who are, especially starting out, you need that scope of an
yes,
advisor to help you, and especially to manage data and all of the training of systems, and it's everything that a new company that is really scaling will need. So I would love
yes.
to have that opportunity. So I'll have to talk to you about that a little bit more.
Sounds good to me.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so very much for your inspiration, your incredible insight, and your wisdom. We appreciate you, Dr. Nina Mack-Cain. Thank you again for joining us on the Wise Women Do podcast interview series. Thank
Thank,
you.
thank you for having me, and I appreciate this opportunity with you also.
Well, we are going to be stay on for just a moment so I can grab a few photos. And of course, this broadcast, it will air on the Wise Women Do podcast channel on YouTube. Also, it will air on the Fave Unite FM radio station and the Wombology World broadcast station as well. And we have the reach of over 40 countries. So we're excited about the debut. And thank you so much for joining us once again. See you next time. Thank you. All right, I am going to hit stop.